Welcome to Dream Farm. Today is April 21st. I am visiting the spot where we did the burn. I guess I did the burn. It was a solo timber burn. It's on my right. It's a 20+ acre area. I talked about that in one of the previous episodes. I want to show you the difference between, I'm going to be walking up this lane that goes up to the top of the ridge, and that was my lower fire break. So I'm going to show you the difference between what it looks like on the upper side of that and what it looks like on the lower side where it didn't burn. In fact, this afternoon, assuming the humidity and everything falls into place as predicted, Ben Sweeney and myself are going to burn the lower side. We're getting so late into it now. I mean, it's been a month. The burn up here to the right was a month ago. So you'll be able to see the difference that a month makes. But anyway, getting back to the burn today, starting to get fairly green in the timber and especially around the edges. So I'm going to need low humidity in order to carry the fire through it, I believe. I mean, that's what the experts have told me, but hopefully I can bring you some action from burning the lower end of this too. And the big picture here was burn through all this stuff, kill out as much of the junk as possible, and then this is going to be my primary TSI area next spring. So next spring I'm going to be going through here and cutting down all the undesirable timber and opening up the canopy to let the sunlight in, but ideally you clean out the junk first, so that way, you know, when you open it up and let the sunlight in, you don't just get, you know, a flush of the, you know, the invasives and the stuff that you're trying to remove. So just a quick recap, the biggest issues that were in this timber that I burned, and to a lesser extent in the piece that we're going to burn today, multiflora rose and Japanese barberry. There's a little bit of bush honeysuckle, not much, but rather than figure out how to remove all that stuff by spraying it with herbicides and whatever, the fire is a really good option, but only if it really seriously sets that stuff back or kills it. So let's take a look and draw some conclusions about how well this worked. Dream Farm is brought to you by Whitetail Institute Food Plot Blends, Hunt Stand Pro Whitetail App, Hoyt Archery, Wildlife Farming, and PH Outdoors. This is a pretty good spot to show it right here. I'm not going to talk about this a bunch because I'm sure you'll get tired of it, but if you look to my right, I guess that'd be your left, you can see a whole bunch of stuff that's either dead or seriously set back. It's not growing, especially the Japanese barberry, and you know, pretty much there's nothing green up in there. But then I pivot, you know, I can show you everything that's below this lane, you know, the stuff that didn't burn, and it's a whole different story. All of that stuff is green and flourishing. So I think that's the testament to the value of these burns, and hopefully I can get the same benefit from the one I'm going to do this afternoon. You know, I need to clean out the bottom part too, because that's part of my TSI rotation for next spring. So this part looks good. You know, I'm really happy with how it turned out. Now I just need to clean up the part of the woods. Probably about, if I had to guess, I'd say about 10-12 acres below this. Well, Ben joined me. We are going to start at the top now. We did burn a little bit on the bottom. I didn't turn the camera on for that, but we're going to work our way around the top of this section and make a little bit of a back burn going down the hill. That'll be our fire break. And once we get over the property line, we'll work down that property line and continue to burn inward. We've got 2 of the leaf blowers and I've got my drip torch. It should be enough to keep it moving. You know, it's getting late enough in the season now that the only thing that really burns well are the leaves, because the grass has gotten so green. But once we get it burned all the way to the bottom to make our break, then we'll start at the bottom and torch it, and hopefully we can get enough leaves going to make it interesting. it could be a while. This one could burn pretty slow. But they say, the experts say, that the greener the fire, the better the fire, because so much of the energy of the plant is up in the leaves and in the buds. And when you burn it at that time, you got a better chance of setting it way back or killing it. So if we're going to do some real damage to our invasives in the multiflora rose here, this is probably the best time of the year to burn. Well, we got that burn pretty well under control. It's not going to jump out of there. Not nearly as hot as the one that I did a month ago. I don't think it'll be quite as effective. There was a lot more of the Japanese barberry. It's an invasive that I'm trying to eliminate. There was so much of it in there that there weren't very many leaves on the ground. So it was harder to carry the fire through. And that's too bad, because what you really want in those areas where you've got all those crappy shrubs and invasives that you're trying to remove, multiflora rose, prickly ash, the barberry in this case, you know, in some cases you're talking about bush honeysuckle. You really need more heat to go through there, but you don't have the leaves in those spots. So it's a little bit tougher. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I may end up having to go in there with some herbicide and work on that barberry. But it's an interesting practice. You know, I'm going to learn a lot before I'm done. I showed you how effective the first one was. So we'll see how well this one does. I'll show you an update sometime early summer on you know, how this one turned out and compare the two. Well, that's it for today. I appreciate you joining me. I'll see you right back here again soon for the next episode of Dream Farm. And remember to always dream big.